You ever get that feeling where everything is finally going right? I mean, you land the big client, your project is getting traction, things are just good. And then, almost out of nowhere, you get this strange, unstoppable urge to just burn it all down. It is one of the most frustrating feelings in the world.
It's like you're just a passenger in your own body. You're watching yourself pick a fight over literally nothing, or forget to reply to that one crucial email, or stay up all night scrolling right before a huge presentation. It feels like you are dismantling your own hard work, piece by piece, and you just can't seem to grab the controls.
And of course, after it all comes crashing down, we tell ourselves we're just lazy or maybe we're just not cut out for success. But what if that's not the real story? What if self-sabotage has almost nothing to do with your willpower? What if it's actually a super sophisticated defense mechanism, a protective instinct that's just gone haywire?
So, in this explainer, we're going to break down the psychology of why we do this to ourselves. We'll start with the sabotage paradox and get into the science of why our brains want us to hide. Then we'll help you identify your specific sabotage signature, lay out a clear roadmap to get past it, and finally, we'll talk about what it really means to have the courage to be seen.
Okay, so let's dive right into the core paradox. Why on earth do we push away the very things we say we want? Well, it turns out our minds seem to have a built-in cap for how much good stuff we can actually handle.
Dr. Gay Hendricks called this the upper limit problem. The best way to think about it is like a thermostat for your soul. We all have this internal setting for how much success, how much love, how much positive attention we feel like we can tolerate. And the second our life gets better than that setting, these internal alarms start blaring, and we instinctively do something to bring the temperature right back down to what feels familiar.
But why does that thermostat even exist? I mean, why is too much good a problem? Well, to understand that, we've got to look at our brain's ancient, and I mean ancient, survival code. And this really gets to the heart of it. For most of human history, if you were the most visible, the most successful, the most different member of the tribe, you were a target. A target for predators, for rivals, for envy, for being kicked out. So, to our ancient brain, visibility equals vulnerability. When you start to succeed, you are, in effect, standing up in an open field, and self-sabotage is just your brain's ancient attempt to pull you back down into the tall grass, where it's safe.
So you have this massive conflict happening inside your head. You've got the CEO part of your brain, your prefrontal cortex, that wants the promotion, it wants the big win. But then you have the bodyguard, your limbic system. And here's the thing about the bodyguard. It doesn't care if you're happy. It only asks one question. Is this familiar and predictable? And if you've spent years struggling, well, that's what's familiar. Success is new. It's unknown territory.
This internal battle creates something called cognitive dissonance. It's this intense, deeply uncomfortable feeling you get when your new successful reality doesn't match your old internal identity of being safer when hidden. And to get rid of that awful friction, your brain looks for the fastest possible shortcut. And, unfortunately, changing your reality by missing a deadline is a whole lot easier than changing your entire identity.
So how does this actually show up in the real world? Most of us have a go-to move, a specific way we hide. So let's run through the 4 most common patterns. And as I do, see which one feels a little too familiar.
First up, we have the perfectionist stall. This is where you never quite finish your work because, it's just not ready yet. But the real truth is, as long as something is a work in progress, you get to live in this safe, cozy land of potential. A finished product, on the other hand, that can actually be judged. Next is the noble distraction. Oh, this one is sneaky. This is when you sabotage your own big, scary goals by becoming too busy helping everyone else with their problems. It feels super productive, right? But what you're really doing is using other people's needs as a perfect shield to hide from your own ambitions.
Then there's the chaos maker. This is the person who, let's say, picks a huge fight with their partner the night before a big job interview. You're creating an emotional crisis to give your brain a legitimate excuse for not performing well. It's a protective buffer. Hey, I didn't fail because I'm not good enough. I failed because I was dealing with a personal crisis. And finally, the intellectual minimizer. With this one, you actually do achieve success, but you immediately explain it away. You say things like, oh, it was just luck, or they probably didn't have any other options. By downplaying your win, you stop that internal thermostat from rising, and you keep yourself feeling small even as your world gets bigger.
Okay, so we've identified the problem, we've identified the patterns. So what do we do about it? How do we fix it? Well, we know that pure willpower doesn't work.
Instead, we have to use a strategy of slow, incremental exposure to teach our nervous system that it's actually safe to be seen. Here's a simple 4-step framework. Step 1. Identify. Start to notice your success hangover. That's the moment, usually 24 to 48 hours after a win, when that urge to sabotage really kicks in. Just noticing it is huge. Step 2. Expand. Practice tiny little acts of usability, like sharing one small win with a friend you trust. You're just gently stretching your tolerance. Step 3. Decatastrophize. When that fear pops up, ask yourself, okay, what is the absolute worst thing that could actually happen? 9 times out of 10, the reality is way less scary than the fear. And finally, step 4. Integrate. Create a little ritual, maybe just 60 seconds of quiet, to consciously sit with and absorb your achievements.
Now, a quick but really important pause here. If you are neurodivergent, so if you have ADHD, are autistic, or a highly sensitive person, visibility can be a literal sensory threat. More success often means more emails, more meetings, more social input. For you, the answer isn't just to push through it. It's about consciously designing a career that respects your sensory limits. And if you're carrying deep trauma, please consider working with a trauma-informed therapist. These defenses kept you safe for a reason, and they deserve professional, compassionate care.
And this brings us to our final and maybe our most important point. That fear you feel when you're on the verge of success, it's not a stop sign. It's actually a sign of your potential for growth. It's about finding the courage to finally, truly be seen.
I want you to really let this sink in. The world, in many ways, has a vested interest in you staying small. Because small people are manageable. Small people don't disrupt the status quo. They don't make other people feel insecure. But for someone with real drive, with curiosity, staying small, well, that's just a slow death.
So that discomfort, that itch to retreat back into the shadows right when you succeed, that is not a sign that you're doing something wrong. It is the growing pains of a soul that is finally outgrowing its cage. It's a sign that you are standing right on the frontier of your old self.
So, I'll just leave you with this question to reflect on. Your internal bodyguard has done its job for a long time, but its services are no longer required. Be brave. Be seen. What would you actually do if you weren't afraid?